And so far, it seems like the Ministry of Health in Gaza has declared more than 1,500 people have been killed in the strikes. 1,500 people. Yeah, I can't show this one. Gaza Strip today when Israel airstrike hit a convoy of civilian cars that were fleeing south as ordered by the IDF. At least 70 people were killed as reported at the moment. Yeah, so basically, okay, so I guess that moves into what's going to be happening now. After all of that, Israel decided yesterday that it was going to be ordering all Gazans in the northern half of the Gazan Strip to just evacuate, and they need to evacuate in 24 hours because it seems like Israel's planning to just level the entire place to the ground, to just like wipe them off the face of the earth and just move them. It seems like 1.1 million people were going to be affected by that, and they just simply did not care. The World Health Organization did a write-up on this. WHO pleads for immediate reversal of Gaza evacuation order to protect health and reduce suffering. WHO joins the wider UN in appealing to Israel to immediately rescind the order to evacuate over 1 million people living in north of Wadi Gaza. A massive evacuation would be disastrous for patients, health workers, and other civilians left behind and caught in the mass movement. With ongoing airstrikes and closed borders, civilians have no safe place to go. Almost half of the population is under 18, with dwindling supplies, safe food, clean water, health services, and without adequate shelter. Children and adults, including the elderly, will be at the highest risk of disease. It just seems like they're just going to be. Can we just be real? They're going to wipe them off the map. That's the plan, is to wipe Gaza off the face of the map. That thing where they saw that meme, Netanyahu saw that meme where it was Gaza today, Gaza tomorrow, where it was just like, you know, they turned it into a parking lot, just flattened into a parking lot. That seems to be the plan. Actual Holocaust too. It seems to be almost like it, yeah. Yeah, kill them all and steal the land. Seems to be the number one agenda. And it seems like what they're doing is what they want to do is get as many bombs in as possible before Israel is forced by the international community to stop. It seems like what they want to do is kill as many human beings as possible, wipe as many things in Gaza off the face of the map this time, or like any other time if Gaza survives this, to just level as much, kill as many people as possible, rack up the hundreds, thousands and thousands of bodies as much as they can, to hopefully just like in time wipe Gaza off the face of the map. 2 million people in a 75 square foot area. Yeah, that seems to be the plan. It's to push 2 million, a little over 2 million people in a like 75 square foot area in order to just, and then probably bomb that too. Actually, we know that's their plan, is to bomb that too, because it seems there are reports of people who are moving already, who are going from North Gaza to South Gaza. It seems like there are convoys of people who are still being hit on the way out of North Gaza. So they're still bombing them as they're leaving. It seems like also they have planned a full ground invasion as well. There have been raids into Gaza just a little bit, but it seems like we said that 300,000 troops are amassing on the border at the moment. Seems like that's their plan, is to start to push completely into a full-scale invasion of the area, going from like house to house to try to get as many people as possible. Israel's war with Hamas continues to escalate. With Hamas, okay. With more missiles raining down on the densely packed Gaza Strip, and the death toll on both sides climbing ahead of the widely anticipated Israeli ground invasion of the Palestinian territory. Hamas claimed Friday that Israel strikes killed at least 13 and scores of Israeli and foreign hostages it seized during its brutal weekend and terror attack in southern Israel. If this is true, if this is even true, that Israel's now bombing their own hostages, like, what are we? Are these bombs that are dropping that just missed? Did they know hostages were being kept there and still did it anyways? Are they just bombing and that's just it? They don't give a fuck? Because if this is true, and if they've killed a lot of their own hostages in the missile raids that they've been doing, while claiming that they're doing the missile raids because of the hostages, then like how much am I supposed to believe that this is actually what you're trying to do? Are you actually going to tell me that I should be believing this? Are you serious right now? It's I mean like I'm not going to say it's one thing and another thing, but like I would expect countries like this to like kill off hostages that they've taken. I wouldn't expect them to kill off their own hostages in other areas. But once again, we'll have to see if that's even true. President Biden spoke with the families on Friday of 14 Americans who were missing and said earlier this week that Americans were among the hostages being taken by Hamas. Israeli military on Friday said troops have carried out localized raids into Gaza to hunt down Hamas militants and try to find hostages. The United Nations said that Israel told it late Thursday night that everyone in northern Gaza should evacuate to the south of the enclave within 24 hours, raising expectations of a full-scale, well, I'm going to say full-scale Israeli invasion is imminent. A UN spokesperson told the CBS News the world body considers it impossible for such movement to take place without devastating humanitarian consequences. And I just think they don't fucking care. I think it's possible they even want the humanitarian crises. They know that this is what's going on. And if this is the case, if they're already giving this type of warning, Hamas can already get out. I don't think they care. I think they want to do a full-scale invasion and just flatten the place. Kill all the people there, or as many as they possibly can get away with, and then flatten the place. I think what we're witnessing here right now is just the ethnic cleansing of an entire area for the goal of a radical, religious, genocidal apartheid state. This far-right fascist genocidal apartheid state looking to wipe an entire people, millions of people off the face of the earth. It's not even a real warning. It's just letting thousands of people know that they're going to be dead within 24 hours. And a lot of them may not even know that this is happening because Gaza's out of electricity. Israel controls all of their resources due to pushing them into a literal enclave, open air prison. And they cut their food, they cut their water, they cut their electricity, they cut everything. So there's like thousands of people who may not even know that they should evacuate at all. They just see people running, but not everybody's running since Israel's just using this as like shooting them like fish in a barrel. Israel's military said Hamas's attack and ongoing rocket fire had killed more than 1,300 people as of Friday, and at least 27 Americans known to be dead. In Gaza, the health ministry said that more than 1,900 people were killed, including 600 children, and left more than 7,000 people wounded, and with no hospitals to go because hospitals don't have any power or electricity or water or resources anymore because they're completely cut off now. It seems like the WHO and like the UN are just begging Israel over and over and over again to stop. I gotta zoom in on this one due to like blood. But at this moment, a couple hours ago, doctors in Gaza describe war's devastating impact on healthcare and civilians, and they go over how they're out of water, they're out of food. Let's read some of this. The smell of blood is everywhere, says Mohammed Matar, head of the radiology department at Al-Shifa Hospital, the Gaza Strip's largest medical complex. There aren't enough beds to hold the patients. Others are on the floor. The smell of death is everywhere, Matar says. On Friday, he wrote to NPR. You gotta fix that. A few minutes back, we received bodies from our colleagues, Dr. Mohammed Dabor, a consultant pathologist, and all of his family. They have been attacked by an airstrike while they were attempting to evacuate his family to a safe area in South Gaza. So here it is, where Israel's now bombing doctors, or is okay with bombing doctors, fleeing from northern Gaza to southern Gaza. So as they're telling people to leave, they're just dropping more and more and more bombs on them, getting them out of their homes that they weren't safe at originally to just be out in the street and then bomb them again. They bombed aid workers the other day too. Yeah. 5 IFRC network members killed. Civilians and healthcare workers must be protected. International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent is devastated to confirm the deaths of 5 members of our network due to armed hostilities in Israel and Gaza. Today, Wednesday, 2 different incidents. Ambulance were hit. 4 Palestine Red Crescent paramedics who were helping those in need. Previously on Saturday, ambulance driver Megan David Adom in Israel lost his life while driving an ambulance to treat injured people as well. Whole thing's insane. The attacks just keep coming. They just keep coming. From with this clip where Mark Lamont Hill forces Israel's former foreign minister to admit that Israel's deliberately starving and bombing a captive civilian population to what they want. A war crime. Not one British journalist has done this. Let's take a look. Well, that's the caption. Let's see.
What I'm saying is what you're doing. No. He's saying doing it immediately.
I got you. I'll tell you exactly what we're saying. I'm saying we will do everything for the Gazan people. Once and now we demand immediate surrender, unconditional surrender of Hamas. If Hamas people come out with their hands up and clear their weapons, believe me, everything will be restored to Gaza. It is Hamas in Hamas' hands.
Everything will be restored to Gaza. You can't restore God. You're taking human lives. Those can't be restored. Everything, you can't restore the 60 years of apartheid. You can't restore that. You can't take it. You can't give that back. You stole their land. You forced them into an open air prison, and you killed them. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and tens of thousands of people dead in this war that you made. You can't give that back.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you for clarifying that, sir. I think we're actually on the same page here. You're saying that once Hamas leaves, you'll grant the Gazan people food, shelter, fuel, electricity, hospitals, schooling. And if they don't, and if Hamas doesn't leave, then they'll continue to starve and die in hospitals. You are defining for the international community right now collective punishment. You're saying until Hamas acts differently, the 2 million people in Gaza are going to be treated this way. And once Hamas acts differently, these 2 million people in Gaza will be treated better. That is exactly what collective punishment is. You're holding them accountable for the actions of others. That is the definition, the textbook definition of collective punishment, sir.
I'm just glad that somebody's finally saying it. It is collective punishment. I would just say it's fucking racism, Islamophobia as well. What they want is the Gazan people to just be dead. Hamas doesn't care how many Gazans die. They just simply don't. They don't like Gazans. They want them dead. They want them gone. They're tired of them being a problem. They hate the idea of the seeds of terrorism that they've sown is now harming Israel, which is terrible. Nobody deserves a terrorist attack. But what are you going to do? Do more terrorism in response? Bomb children's hospitals? Shoot down civilian convoys? Level apartments in neighborhoods? Israel's doing more than Hamas could even possibly dream of when it comes to humanitarian destruction, when it comes to forming support for them.
Now, you may accept that that's what you want to do, but this is absolutely a contravention of international law.
Well, I'll tell you exactly. No, had we pushed them into the wall, we're not pushing them to the wall. We want to open a humanitarian corridor so they can leave. But
just so you know, that's ethnic cleansing. We want to just cleanse them from the land. We just want to take them and just push them out. 2 million, just push the 2 million people just out. We want them to leave. We're going to bomb them until they leave or die. And those are the two situations. Because what do you mean Hamas? They're always going to find a reason to bomb them. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, Hamas is going to stop. Like, what do you mean Hamas stops? Like, every single person from Hamas? What if they just say that there's still Hamas cells out there? Hamas isn't just a political organization. It's an ideology and a group to identify yourself with that's anti-Israeli occupation and anti-Israel. And in many ways also anti-Semitic. Like, you can't just get rid of that. They made their own little mini ISIS on their border. That's way smaller than the population that they've taken out. It's so far they've killed about 1,900 people. They haven't killed 1,900 Hamas members. Honestly, I'd be surprised if they killed 100 so far in this raid. 100, 200, 300. I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked with how Gaza, once again, is the most densely packed place in the world. You can't spit and not hit somebody there. Now let's talk about bombs dropping. 19,000? No, 1,900. 1,900.
Hamas.
So that who can leave? Citizens? You're saying civilians can leave, but only through the Rafah border, correct?
At this point, yes.
So they can't
because where else?
Your country.
They can leave through the Rafah border. Egypt urges Israel to stop bombing Rafah crossing to allow aid delivery. This is from yesterday. Egyptian foreign minister urges Israel to stop attacking the Palestinian site of Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt so that it can be reopened. 12 channels report. Channel 12 reports. The crossing has been closed since it was hit by IAF airstrikes on Tuesday afternoon after Israel declared that no food or fuel would be allowed into the strip in an effort to implement a complete blockade to isolate Hamas. So to isolate Gazans. They're not isolating Hamas. They're isolating Gazans. So like 2 million people, just so you know, this is the only crossing that's left. If people from Gaza try to make it into Israel, they'll be shot on the spot. They'll be shot before they even get there. They'll be bombed, they'll be shot, they'll be completely destroyed and vaporized instantly. If they try to get anywhere near Israel and they claim that, oh, that person was probably Hamas, so we just had to kill them. We had to kill all of them. They can't leave anymore. It's over. Jordan sent humanitarian supplies to Gaza, but Israel just won't let them in. They want these people to starve to death. That's their plan.
They can come into Israel.
You see that? Look at that. Oh, the people that you're bombing, just let them get out of your open air prison and let them leave. And he's like, no.
I'm telling you one more thing I want to say.
I want you to address that point. Don't just smile, sir, respectfully. You're saying you're making a corridor. They can go to Egypt. You're bombing them. You say you want to save them, but they can't come in.
First of all, I'm not smiling. I'm crying in my.
I'm not smiling. Let them come in.
One more thing I want to say. At this point, yes.
So they can't
come. Where else?
Your country. They can come into Israel.
I'm not smiling. Let them come into Israel. I'm totally, guys. I have sadness. I have so much sadness in my heart for all the people that I've been killing. I've just been killing so many people. I'm not gonna stop, but it feels really bad. Let me tell you, it feels so bad to kill all these people. It sucks. It sucks so bad. Oh man. Good golly. You don't even know. Do you know how hard it is to get blood off of your suit? There are claims. The claims of like the president saying that Gazans were collectively responsible for the attack. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians being not aware and not involved is absolutely not true. Half of Gaza's children. Once again, I'm not. Oh wait.
Operating militarily.
Great. Let's check this out about Gazans being apparently collectively to blame for the attacks. Let's see.
We are operating militarily according to rules of international law, period. Unequivocally. It's an entire nation out there that is responsible. It's not true. This rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved, it's absolutely not true. They could have risen up, they could have fought against that evil regime which took over Gaza in a coup d'etat. But we're at war. We are at war. We're at war we are defending our homes. We're protecting our homes.
So, well, there it is. I was like, I couldn't verify this claim, and well, there it is. There's the president who said there are no innocent civilians in Gaza. 40% of the population is 14. And they took over Gaza in a coup d'etat. He said it themselves, they weren't even really voted in. There haven't been elections since 2006. Oh, just take over the country just take over the government that oppress you? To be oppressed twice? Oppressed in your own in the own land in your own prison that you're kept in, and then be oppressed outside of it, and you could be murdered at any point. Is that literally what you're saying? No innocent civilians, none. This is crazy to me, coming from somebody who's supporting like a Jewish state for Jewish people to be able to be free from oppression. to sit here and say that now some group of people doing a bad thing makes an entire group of people, 2 million people, 40% who are children, personally responsible and are deserving of death and bombs. They could have just simply, hey bro, have you ever heard about like just not being oppressed? Have you guys ever thought about simply just not being oppressed? He's incapable of seeing people different from him as even human beings. They all just simply deserve death to him. This is the government of Israel. And this is crazy because every single time that I try and say something bad about this government, which is doing heinous war crimes, these people all belong in, just so you know, these people all belong in jail. These people all deserve to be tried at The Hague, if we're going to be honest with ourselves. Literally all of them. Oh, and remember how I said I didn't have confirmation of Israel bombing convoys out of North Gaza? Seems like MSNBC has found it.
NBC News can now report 3 convoys of what appear to be evacuees were just hit by Israeli strikes in Gaza. That's according to the Palestinian Health Ministry and also some of our own interviews. 70 people are dead. Only an hour. IDF said an extensive attack against military targets within Gaza was underway. This morning, Israel dropped thousands of leaflets in the north of the Strip warning civilians to go south. Quote, Gaza City has turned into a battlefield. Leave your homes immediately, read those flyers.
Leave your homes. Okay. Just so you know, this is what you do right before you level it. This is what you do to give yourself a little bit of plausible deniability before you level a city. One of the last major times this happened was, you remember, during like the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right before we flattened an entire city for the crimes of their government. 2 cities, almost completely gone. 250,000 people in each, if I remember correctly. I'm not like one of those kids who always kept up with my World War, every single stat from World War II. You think they'll launch nukes at Gaza City? No, I don't think it's going to get that. I don't think so. But I mean, I think there have been definitely talks about it within the Israeli government about just wiping out all of Gaza. You know, seemed like that's probably at least mostly their plan.
The IDF told Gaza City residents they would refrain from touching an evacuation route until 8 p.m. That was just about 2 hours ago. Quote, no one knows where we're going, one Gaza resident told NBC News, but we're ready to run.
But we're ready to run. Not everybody's ready to run. Not everybody can run. And so they got some safety. But they were not going to be bombed until 8 p.m. the next day. And then they're just going to be wiped out. Even if you're trying to still escape, 1.1 million people can't escape in 24 hours. It's not possible. They want to kill these people. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Those 70 people, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd be shocked if any of them were Hamas. Any of them were even affiliated with Hamas. I'd be shocked if any of them likes Hamas. I'd be shocked if any of them, even if they had the option to since 2006, vote for Hamas. But what I do know is that they killed them for being associated with Hamas, for growing up in an open air prison that Hamas stole. Leave. They don't want them to really leave. If they really wanted them to leave, they'd let people from Gaza escape into Israel or Egypt. Either one, but they won't. Look at their actions. Look at what's going on. And remember how Biden was just like hyping up all of this type of shit that like, oh, we need Congress to give Israel more aid. We need to do this, that, and the third. He went on to have the White House say that it's like disgusting, repugnant, and disrespectful for people to be calling for peace.
Message to...
Okay, the pool should start leaving, and then we're going to take this last question.
Thank you, Green. What is the president's message to members of Congress who seem to be equating the Hamas terror attack with actions that were previously taken by Israel?
Say that one more time. Everybody's moving on. I apologize.
What is the president's message to members of Congress who seem to be equating the Hamas terror attack with actions that were previously taken by Israel?
Look, here's the thing, and which congressional members?
Well, there have been some members of Congress who have called for a ceasefire, and they have not gone as far as backing the administration's call for support for Israel.
So look, I've seen some of those statements.
Calling for a ceasefire and not going as far as the president on giving Israel more bombs to kill more children.
It's this weekend, and we're going to continue to be very clear. We believe they're wrong. We believe they're repugnant, and we believe they're disgraceful. Our condemnation belongs squarely with terrorists who have brutally murdered, raped, kidnapped hundreds of Israelis. There can be no equivocation about that. There are not two sides here. There are not two sides.
Listen, when it comes to the people of Gaza and Israel, you're right. There aren't two sides. Israel is in the wrong. Israel's done everything people claim Gazans and Hamas has, and worse. That doesn't make Gaza good. That makes Israel terrible. It's crazy. They don't care about these human beings. They don't think of them as people. And it emboldens Israel to, and the thing is that people don't talk about too much is that this, even if it's not direct support yet, it emboldens Israel to harm more people. As we've been seeing this happen, it went from taking out the Hamas leaders, the Hamas militants that were inside the country, to hitting targets where they found that rockets were shot from, to hitting hospitals, to cutting off food, to stopping border crossings, moving 1 million people out of an area, leveling hospitals, bombing international aid and doctors, killing people transporting food, killing people transporting the wounded. It's just ratcheting up because they can. They know they have the ability to. They know there's still people talking about whether or not it's okay for Israel to wipe out 1 million people off the face of the earth. At least. They're wondering if Gazans deserve to just be wiped off the face of the earth. And so while they're still figuring out whether or not we are going to care or do anything, they're going to go ahead with their plan of just cleansing the entire area as much as they can until they're told to stop. And thankfully, the UN and the WHO are doing something, but those two clowns are notorious for not being able to do anything. And as long as we're still acting like we are, as the United States, Israel's biggest benefactor, and just like 4 states in the entire world that are supporting this genocidal apartheid, they'll be able to continue doing what they're doing. Not as easily if nobody else steps in, but they're still going to be able to continue. That's the evil of this regime that we have in America. Calling for a ceasefire in peace, killing over 1,000 civilians, over 260 children, is evil and repugnant. But calling for more bombs to kill those children, now that is what peace is. Show me a single graph in the history of the entirety of the state of Israel in relation to Palestine and Palestinians where more Palestinians weren't dead, where more Gazans weren't injured, where more terror attacks happened on the side from Gazans and or Hamas or Palestinians to the people of Israel. It doesn't happen. Israel has all of the power here. There's not two sides. We're watching like a 6'5" WWE wrestler beat a chihuahua to death. And we're going, well, it did nip his ankles. Okay. Oh, and then Bush comes out. You guys know you're ready for a good old take on what the people should do to Muslims from Bush.
It's going to be chaotic, and it's going to be, look, it's a democracy, and in a democracy, the people's voices matter, and there's going to be a weariness. You watch, the world's going to be, okay, let's negotiate. You know, Israel's got to negotiate. They're not going to negotiate. These people have played their cards. They want to kill as many Israelis as they can, and negotiating with killers is not an option for the elected government of Israel. And so we're just going to have to remain steadfast, but it's not going to take long. It's gone on too long. Surely there's a way to settle this through negotiations. Both sides are guilty. My view is one side is guilty, and it's not Israel.
Okay, then what is it? You keep saying Israel, Hamas. Israel isn't bombing just Hamas. They're bombing Gazans. So now what? You're saying Gazans are guilty here? This guy should be in federal. This guy should be rotting in prison somewhere. Rotting in prison somewhere. End of story. Go to hell, please. Here, there's some reports about Gazans not wanting to evacuate. There's some people who have said that there are Gazans chanting in northern Gaza saying that they're not going to evacuate. I'm not sure how true that is. We're going to have to see. I'll keep it though, and we will see what happens as that story develops there. But like after Biden, remember when Biden came out like literally the other day talking about how like that fucking beheaded baby story was super real, like how like Gaza Hamas militants were playing shuffleboard with baby body parts, and now he comes out after that and telling his spokesperson to be like, oh yeah, like we're just gonna be we're perfectly fine bombing all Gazans. He comes out like, hey, the tempering of the language is starting to go down even just a slight bit. This is the first time I've ever, all right, this is the first time I've ever even begun to hear like a world leader talk about how they should care about God, like children dying in Gaza at all.
The humanitarian crisis in Gaza. At my direction, our teams are working in the region, including communicating directly with the governments of Israel, Egypt, Jordan, and other Arab nations, and the United Nations to surge support and humanitarian consequences for Hamas attack to help Israel. You know, we can't lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas and Hamas's appalling attacks, and they're suffering as a result as well. This morning, I spoke with the family members of all those Americans.
Okay. And obviously there's more lies and terrible stuff coming out about literally all of this. Come here. Come here. Oh. Hi. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.